Hey, Fred, do you remember your prediction at the beginning of the Pirates season?
I think I had predicted 84 victories. I remember that well. But I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. How about you, Matt?
Well, I think I said 85 victories, and they were going to make the playoffs. But I could be wrong.
Well, let's see here. Let me think.
If I had to make a prediction, I think at the beginning of the year, I said they'd win 85 games, but just missed a playoff spot. I'm sticking to that. I think it'll be still tough to hang on to that second wild card, but I think they'll finish with 85 wins.
I think I said 87 wins. I'm going to say 84 wins now, and I also think they're just going to miss it. My prediction before was that whoever would win the Eastern Division between the Nationals and the Braves, the other team would be one of the wild cards.
No.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a one-boy, cuddly toy, my up, my down, my pride and joy. People, let me tell you about him. He's so much fun. Whether we're talking man to man or whether we're talking son to son, 'cause he's my best friend. Yeah, he's my best friend. La la, ba da 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 ya, ba da 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 ba, ba da 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 ya.
Hello, welcome back to Bucco Banter. I'm Fred Rossano, along with
Matthew Peaslee.
And unfortunately, Matt, it was a quick one and done for the postseason.
Yeah, not what we thought, not what we expected, not what we were looking forward to, but that one wild card game against the Giants, who are in the World Series now, just didn't go for us that night, and that's baseball.
Two wild card teams in there,
Giants and Royals. Yeah, but that's when it comes down to one game, anything can happen, and again, it's baseball, and we lost 8-0. Madison Bumgarner was just on fire then. I think we only got 3 or 4 hits, but he was cruising, and there was nothing the Pirates could do offensively, and the Giants' bats just got hot. That grand slam so early by Brandon Crawford just downed the hopes for the rest of the night, but we were still there. It was...
People were analyzing who should be pitching that game, and everybody said Cole. They should have saved Cole, but you still, I think we touched on that before. You have to go. You still have a chance. I think what came about from that also is you want to win your division,
right?
As much as you can. You want to win that division, even if it's coming down to that last game when you have one of your best pitchers out there. But they wound up. They were lucky. They were already out of the division, so they had their best pitcher out there, and he's continued to just dominate through all.
Bumgarner's just been great this whole postseason. That first World Series game against the Royals, they won 8-1, but that was his first run he'd given up in a while.
I think he's only given up maybe a couple of them in his last.
Yeah.
He's had 3 or 4 starts now.
So that's the World Series. The Royals get killed that first game, then they come back and win an exciting game. But you don't get that luxury in the wild card game.
Nope.
Like the Pirates could have bounced back from that, but that's what it comes down to: just winning the division and how important the regular season is.
And look how close the Royals were from being eliminated. They were down 7-3. What was it, the 7th or 8th inning?
In the wild card game, they came back and won that. So. Yeah, I think even Andrew McCutchen tweeted after the game. He said, "It was such a fun season. Thanks for your support. Next year, we just got to win the division." And that's what. But in years past with the Pirates, before they added that other wild card team, we were the first wild card. We could have already been in the division series. We were in 2013, but not this year. But again, we got a taste of the postseason for back-to-back years, which is great.
Yeah, you can't ask for anything more. But next year, hopefully they'll get into the division, win the division or whatever, and move on from there. But overall, again, another really, really successful year.
Yeah, we saw the emergence of Josh Harrison to an everyday player. Andrew McCutchen still was consistent from his MVP season and very well could be the MVP this year. Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers, might be a shoe-in to get the Cy Young and the MVP, but Kutch is still an MVP candidate. And Neil Walker had his best year offensively.
Yeah.
Not many second basemen can hit 23 home runs and have the average he did. And then Russell Martin was just outstanding, probably the backbone of this team, having career numbers. And yeah, just everybody rose to the occasion this year. There was some downs with the bullpen, but
Alvarez, those were obviously the down point. But and this year was a little bit different than previous years. The previous years they had started out real good and then sort of faded at the end. And this past season, they really came on toward the end there. They were really dominant toward the end of the season there, and it all comes down to pitching again. I think, and that's one of the things. I think if I remember correctly, when you had predicted Volquez was going to be their stud pitcher of the year,
and then you predicted Tony Watson.
Yep,
and then we were both pretty spot on with that. And that's people were criticizing putting Volquez in that wild card game, but he was dominant down the stretch there. He was on fire and through the month of September, pitched really well each game. That game against the Braves that kind of really lifted them and put us in the division race at the end of the year. He was on fire. And and that's baseball. It just wasn't his night on the mound.
And I think it does. You have to have a certain pitcher out there that just is focused. And I looked in the dugout there before the game, and you could tell he was like talking. Baumgartner was just talking to him. So he was like going, and he was just like staring straight ahead at the time. And Volquez maybe has a little bit of nerves, and you would have to be unless you're like he was. Unless some of these pitchers just go out there and and just dominate, and they're postseason pitchers. He's definitely one of them now.
Yeah.
He's dominated every game he's pitched in.
Yeah, the Giants together, I mean, this is their third World Series trip in
every even number
5
of years.
Yeah, 2010, 2012, and now 2014. And I mean, the Pirates were neck and neck with them. But yeah, I think we've both finished with an 88-74 record this year.
Yep.
Another successful season for the Pirates, and we'll just have to see what the future holds now. There's not too many question marks, but there are some question marks. But we'll just have to see what happens in the offseason going into the 2015 year.
Yes, you do. And again, you don't expect to be in the playoffs, but I think they've proven a lot of people wrong this past year as far as making. They would have thought they would. They did fall back a little bit.
Right.
I think they had 94 wins the
year before. Yeah.
But that was still enough to make the wild card, and they really showed how good they were down the stretch there. But you can't ask for much more. But hopefully, better things next year.
Yep.
And another successful season.
Keep contending, and we might be having this conversation a year from now. All right.
We will be. I'm Pirate Panda. Stay tuned for segment number 2. We've got it.
Well, Fred, we're here in the off-season for the Pirates. Not too many big moves yet, but those will be coming. But kind of the biggest transition so far has been Pirates bench coach Jeff Bannister being hired by the Texas Rangers to replace Ron Washington as their manager.
Kind of surprising, but after all, he was considered, I think, for the Houston job too. But just guys been with the organization for 29 years, and obviously, he paid his dues. In fact, he paid his dues in more than one way. I guess he is a cancer survivor, and also I believe he was a catcher, and he was in a collision at home plate, and he really messed up his back and broke several vertebrae or whatever, and they weren't sure whether he was going to be able to walk again, let alone play. But his highlight, he made had one at bat in the major leagues, and they were showing this on TV once when he was named manager, and hit the ball into the hole and beat out the play to first base there. So he was 1 for 1. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. 1,000 batting average, 100 batting average.
Pretty amazing. But he deserves it. I mean, and I think that's a credit to the organization too when they talk about the culture of the organization changing. And that he was sought by the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers, and that's a feather in their cap because things are turned around now.
Pirates are not. I mean, from Clint Hurdle down, everybody has changed in this organization, and just kind of funny that Jeff Bannister won at bat in the major leagues. Obviously, not a star player by any means, but he's leading a Major League Ball club now. It just proves that you don't have to be the star on the team or the best player to know the game of baseball. Like they say that Clint Barmas for the Pirates could be a great manager someday. I mean, he's not out there making the headlines all the time, but when you know the game of baseball, it can take you far.
It's one of those guys. It's the utility player, or a lot of times catchers are
Right.
successful managers. But usually it's the guys that have fought and struggled to make it to not the superstars
Right.
that become the succeful managers. And obviously he's fought in more ways than one, not just on the baseball field.
Yeah, it's good for Banter. You got to be proud of him.
Yeah.
Proud for that. I mean, it's not like a manager taking another managerial job, but he deserved this promotion big time. So not only with coaching changes, there's still going to be a decent amount of changes to the roster. We're sure of. There's Pirates only have really 3 free agents in pitcher Edison Volquez, pitcher Francisco Liriano, and catcher Russell Martin. I mean, 3 big keys to this successful season.
Keys.
Where do you see them heading?
I think they're going to give a good run at Martin. I think they see this, the window of opportunity is there. They see this with their outfield, the way it's looking, and with Martin behind the plate. I think they're going to try to make as good a run as they can at Martin, and hopefully they'll get him for 3 or 4 years. I mean, if you've seen some of the programs that they've had on, the Pirate, after the games or before the games, the guy's just a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's in shape. I mean, he's getting older and is the wrong side of 30.
And he hasn't always been a catcher. He was an infielder basically, and so that that's taken a lot of the wear and tear off of his knees and all that stuff, which is the main thing that puts catchers into retirement a little bit earlier to make him play first base or whatever. But
so 2 years ago, when we were able to get Russell Martin, the Pirates were aggressive to outbid the Yankees for him.
Well, they're going to have to be,
and they're going to have to do it again this year, because he's definitely improved there. And the ovation he got walking off the field at that wild card game was special, and I think he was truly touched by that. When there's 40,000 fans in there chanting his name as he's walking off the field, he was very humbled and touched by that, and definitely a good showing by the Pirates fans to show their appreciation for what he's done.
The thing I worry about, though, is like teams like the Dodgers and stuff just throwing a ton of money out there that just to get him in the fold there for a few years, and they if the Pirates offer him, I don't know, what do you think it's going to go for? $15 million a year?
That's the thing. What he's going to want 3 or 4 years, I'm sure, because he's only been on a 2-year. But I mean, $15 million to $17 million a year isn't out of the question. I mean, that's what the big boys do. And I'm certain that the Pirates are going to be aggressive with this, but they're going to be smart about this too. They're going to realize that, I mean, the money's got to be placed in a lot of other different ways. There's a lot of arbitration-eligible players who are going to be getting a raise this year. So it's just the Pirates have been smart with their spending, not only in the offseason, but at the free agent or the trade deadline during the year too. Mm-hmm. And this is just another opportunity for them to make a right move.
I think if they sign Martin, then I think they might go a different direction with Liriano and Volquez. If they don't sign Martin, I think they'll put I don't know. Would you go first for Liriano or Volquez?
Volquez has been my guy, and I don't know if he's going to have the same year. But even Liriano wasn't as sharp as he was in the 2013 season. Who knows if they're declining or not? But I mean, with Ray Searage, you can't count any pitcher out that comes here. And
I think they understand that pitching staff right now is Garrett Cole. Because Morton isn't going to be there.
Vance Worley will probably be back.
I'm saying of the guys that are really going to be counting. I mean, you can't. You're going to be taking out 2 of your starters out of your starting rotation. That's going to take they're going to take a big hit there. So I think even if they would sign Martin, I think they're still going to try to sign Volquez one of the two. And maybe not both, but.
Maybe not at the beginning of the year, but you still have Jameson Taillon coming up after his surgery, Nick Kingham, Tyler Glasnow. There's a lot of good pitchers waiting in the wings to come up.
He was named minor league pitcher of the year, not just for the Pirates, but for all of baseball.
Yeah. So they're going to have to merge them into the rotation sometime. So it may not look the same as it did this year, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they shape it. But the starting pitching has been great for in the past 2 years, and I'm hoping it stays that way no matter who's in the rotation for next year.
The as far as the starting lineup, say you would have hopefully Martin behind the plate. Where do you see the rest of the?
Well, we could Harrison at third, Mercer at shortstop, Neil Walker at second. First base is tricky. We're not ready to give up on Pedro Alvarez just yet, and when you could still have him under control, I still say he's our best power threat. So I'd love to trot him out there every day with either Gabby Sanchez or Ike Davis, one of them out.
Well, if you have Pedro there, then you're not going to have Ike.
Right, you don't need two lefties. Yeah.
I was not high on Ike. I didn't like Ike from the beginning, but based on some of the other, I think a lot of people were at James Loney. They wanted him, and I guess he had basically the same type of stats as Ike Davis did. But I think, well, go ahead and go through your outfield.
Well, the outfield's easily solidified with Marte, McCutchen, and Polanco, and even Travis Snyder played well last year too. And just to have him as a bench guy that could almost be interchangeable with Polanco. I mean, we hope that Polanco finishes his struggles for the rookie year and is used to major league pitching, because he's used to success all through the minors, and he's got half a year under his belt now. He'll be fine going forward, but having Travis Snyder on the bench will be nice too. But really, the only question mark is first base, and I mean, if Pedro,
I like that lineup with Martin. It'd be Martin, Alvarez, Walker, Mercer, Harrison, and then, like you said, Marte, McCutchen, and Polanco. And Snyder off the bench there. That's a nice lineup. I mean, and again, you have that window there because sneaking up not too far is McCutchen's.
Yeah.
I think, again, going back to Martin, I think they see that. If you sign Martin for 3 years and you have, when is McCutchen's?
We still got him for 3 or 4 more years. Okay. But even then, he's underpaid right now for an MVP.
Oh yeah, and when you get to that point, if some of these other youngsters pan out, then you're going to be paying some big bucks for some of these pitchers. And
even Neil Walker's only got 2 more years, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Martin, McCutchen, we'll worry about that later. But our team for 2015 looks to be pretty solid again.
Solid if. With a lot of ifs. Three pretty big ifs.
Right.
But somehow it usually works itself out, and they've made some really good moves. They've really stepped up as far. I mean, when Huntington was first named GM, there was a lot of criticism as far as some of the moves he made, as far as free agency, some of the trades he's made, but I don't think every GM is going to make bad trades.
Right. But he's done enough to playoffs 2 years in a row. You can't beat that.
You can't. But the season's over, Matt. Unfortunately, it is. But it's not really over because a lot of times the off season is just as exciting.
Right.
And we also have...
There's Pirate Fest coming up. There's spring training. Bucco Banter is going to be with you the entire way this offseason.
But we'll be back.
We will.
We'll be back.
Believe that. And just can't wait till we hear the magic words again.
Pitchers and Catchers Report. We'll see you next time on Bucco Banter.
Go Bucks.
What, you're trying to compare yourself with Clint Eastwood?
Yes.
You or me? Who's Clint Eastwood? Me?
He's got to be Clint Eastwood if he's a director.
The bad and the ugly. Here we go.